All right, so now we got it rolled out. You can take your fondant smoother and you can just start buffing it while it's still on the table. Once we apply it to the cake, I'll buff it one more time, but this just gives you kind of a little bit of a head start to get any little imperfections out or anything like that. So now what we're gonna do is essentially we're gonna roll this back onto our rolling pin, bring it over to our cake, and then unroll it so that kind of encases our tier. So, and the larger you go with this, the more difficult it becomes. So we're gonna roll it back on, pick it up, make sure you're getting it all the way covered and down. So here's the fun part too. Back to buffing the top. So you want to make sure you get all the air bubbles out of the top. If you start working your sides too fast before the top's smoothed out, you could get an air pocket forming here and it'll just keep expanding, and next thing you know you got cracks and holes. So, all right, so we're buffed out. So really carefully just start working from the top and going down. If I tried to just go all the way on one side, by the time I get to the back I'm gonna have a big crease. So just carefully. This is gonna stretch a little bit for you. So you can just lift up an edge, get your hand working the sides. Just kind of, you just pick it up, give it some room to move around. That's why you want it thick enough that it can stretch without tearing. Once it's too thin, then you'll just start tearing it up right away. All right. So just keep working, and then back onto our fondant smoother, and just kind of keep bringing that down till you get to the table. Out the sides. Okay. On the top. All right. And then you can take a little paring knife or pastry wheel, and essentially you're just trying to make sure you find that seam right where the bottom of your tier is, and just kind of go around. And this is still fine, so especially for fake tiers, if you don't have any shortening or anything on this part, which you shouldn't, then you can just work this back together. Take our little scrap piece here. And then just either plastic wrap this again or put it back into your fondant bucket, because this is just fine. If you leave it out, it's gonna start getting crusty. So we'll just put this right back in here, wrap that up, and we'll be back to that in probably a few minutes. Okay. So usually you're going to have either this going on to another tier of a cake, or you're going to have your cake board. And what I like to do is just kind of give it a little bit of something sticky that it can stick to. So there's a little fondant. You can wet that, some buttercream or anything like that. Pick up your cake tier, take your fondant smoother, and just make sure you buff out any of that seam. If it tucks under a little bit, that's okay. Like I said, usually you can look to see if there's a back to the cake, because you'd want to, again, put that where the guests aren't going to see it. Right there. Drop it out, and we'll just apply a little pressure. And now we have our plain cake tier sitting on our stand. So from here, you would just continue to decorate it as if you were doing a buttercream cake or anything else like that, whatever design style is of your cake. For now, what we'll do is I'll just show you a couple little things you guys can mess around with at home. So we'll put this up on our turntable. That way now I can kind of spin it as needed. Couple quick easy borders. Some people just pipe buttercream. You can put ribbon, something like that, matching the colors of the wedding or something like that. We can just simply do anytime you're going to do a border and fondant, again, same thing. If this is 7 inches, you need to, well, figure out the circumference of it. We're going to get some math involved. So diameter times pi. So we're going to need 20, safe to say, let's say 24, 25 inches. So you could measure out 2 feet of that, just so you know you're going to cover it all in one shot. Nice border. So our back is here. So essentially I would just start on the back, bring that around, and then we have just a simple, you know, plain border. I will undo that real quick. If I stretch this out more, middle, cut it, put these two together, and we can just twist this. See if I got this long enough. Same thing, find our back, right there, start that. And then you have kind of like just a little bit more of a rope border. Yeah, if this was your front and you wanted to, you can kind of just have something curl around there, you know, and you could end up with a bow or something like that. You could just do it flat strip around and then you create a bow. Well, I'll take this off. You can just take some of the fondant, roll it, and essentially people just be, yeah, these could be done in another color. Often fun for birthdays when you get bright pinks or greens, red, blue, white. I mean, you can just kind of go endless possibilities on something like that. But you're just sitting there and you're just having to make these, and these would be made ahead of time too. Knowing that you have an order come up, you can just sit there and make those rounds and then just place them on after. So we can do another quick one here. A little bit more powdered sugar down. Make sure you keep picking it up These I do just a little bit thinner. Now we're just doing a decoration. And you can take a little ring cutter and essentially do a couple just half circles. You know, you can overlap. Something like that. You can do the circle. You can cut them in half if you want to. And then you're just putting the halves. Normally you're gonna either put a little bit of water or buttercream so that these stick. I got some shortening, so we'll just pretend like that's our buttercream right now. Just a little bit of buttercream. And then that way now you're, and again, alternating those, pink, green, anything like that. For this base, I'd probably be doing black and white alternating, just so it all matches. Quick little texture on this, you know, there's a whole set of fondant tools that you guys can get to give it some more textured, but if you're doing like a quilted or pillow pattern, all you need is really just a back of a paintbrush. And then if you just start indenting this, turn it. You know, you can use a ruler so that you can kind of get better lines, so you know everything's spaced. But I'm just going to show you guys just a quick one by hand here. Alright, and then you'd have to go the other way. But now you'll have just a little bit of a pillow or diamond pattern. And then you can pipe other colors in there. You can make smaller of these little dots, and then they'd be sitting in there, something like that. So this'll be pliable for some time, so you can start getting any other designs in there. You could probably, if we wanted to, it's not gonna make any sense, but you know, roll your texture on after. If you were just doing half of a cake, you know, just the side, you can just roll something like that on after the fact. Okay, so a couple little quick ideas for you guys. Basically, right now, if you enjoy playing with Play-Doh or something like that, you're gonna enjoy playing with a fondant cake. So take all those things, make your own spin on them, and just enjoy decorating cake.